Hello and welcome to a brand new preview episode for Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host Jay. I'm here with my co-host Micah
Hey,
and Terrence.
what's up?
All right, guys, we are back. Unfortunately, Tiara is not here for this preview episode for episode 254, Beast. Okay, this is the Idris Elba film. The logline here is a father and his two teenage daughters find themselves hunted by a massive rogue lion intent on proving that the Savanna has but one apex predator.
It's a rogue lion, as opposed to like all the other lions who kind of fall in line.
Right.
This is a rogue lion.
A rogue lion in the Savannah. Like, nah, yo, like y'all the rogue ones, but okay, all right. We'll see. I've not seen this movie. Terrence, you have seen this.
I saw it.
It's something else. All right. Well, this is going to be, spoiler alert, this is going to be a lighter film to have a little bit of fun with. But the topic this week is an interesting one. Terrence, you want to tee this up about what happened with T.I. and his son?
Yeah, so last week, I believe they were at a Falcons game. T.I. and his son King got into a slight altercation because his son, for some reason or another, it feels like he has to be like from the streets, like he has to kind of prove himself. Like I'm not sure if he wants to be a thug or anything like that. He says he stands on business, right? And his father, T.I., is kind of like, no, nigga, no. Like, I grew up in the streets, so you didn't have to do that. But
Makes
sense. These kids seem to want to represent something that they're not. And also, I think Michael Irvin's kid did the same thing a couple months ago. Like he's like a rapper and he's rapping about.
Yeah, I remember seeing something about that. Yeah.
Same thing. It's like, you're not from the hood. Knock it off. You're rich. You grew up with a silver, maybe not a silver spoon, but you don't have to do what we did when we grew up. Like, it's fine. And I was thinking about it, and it's kind of a trend going on now. Like, a lot of these younger kids and their parents, black parents, are having the kids are having issues with their parents because they're rich, and like it's almost kind of like in this country you have to like build stuff on your own, and they feel like they have to do stuff they don't have to do to kind of feel important. I don't know. It's weird to me that these kids feel like especially in like hip hop, they feel like they got to be from the hood in order to be respected.
Yeah.
So
I never understood. I never understood this mentality from either side of it. Right? These young kids who think that, well, I gotta go through the struggle to be authentic. I mean, I get it, but like, no, you don't. Like, that's the whole reason your parents kind of did that stuff, so you wouldn't have to do it. At the same exact damn time, especially right now, you got baby boomers who are shitting on young people because life is difficult. And it's like, well, I had to go through this, so you should be able to do it too. Like, the whole point of the next generation is to make the next generation to have it easier for them, right? Like, Can you imagine if our parents or grandparents who had to go through civil rights was like, well, I had to go through it, so fuck these people that got shot by the cops. Like, that doesn't make any sense. No. But like, on a third hand, right? Like, young people got to do the work too, yo. Like, you gotta work. Like, you can't, want to have, 4-day work weeks and where you work from home all the time without like putting in this effort right now. So it's a weird like dichotomy. It's a weird circle of life that
rules us all.
The interesting about like the whole, like you said, the young kids like working from working 4 days a week from home. It's like, but they're not getting paid what they should. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when you start out, like
Yeah.
inflation just doesn't. It has not caught up with like the actual salaries hasn't caught up with inflation. So they are working. They're working. They're just not getting paid what they thought they were supposed to be paid when they went to fucking college and got degrees, and they're making $20 an hour. That's fucked up. You know?
Yeah,
But
because
back to-
like college degrees are like high school degrees now. You know what I mean? Like,
Quite literally.
but for baby boomer went to college, they were a genius, right? Now-
right.
And also college costs you
College
you know,
costs $17 a month.
you just get like a couple of like nickels and a couple of apples together and you got it. Like, and that's how you bought your
Right.
house too.
Like a family of 5, the kids could go to fucking college on the husband's
on
salary,
one salary, let alone 2.
working at a goddamn factory in Detroit.
right.
That
My
shit-
father
you can't do
bought
that.
my father bought the house that they have lived in for over 40 years in Pikesville, of all places, right? For $52,000.
52.
Nigga. Crazy.
$52,000 for a house. Like, it should just be a hole in the ground by today. It's just like, here it is. Like, just you sleep there.
Like when I moved to Baltimore, my parents' house cost $100,000, and they both had jobs. It's a nice house, and that was like 95, 94, 95. So
Yeah,
you know.
I like my parents' house
Doubled it.
that they bought. That's not too far from where Micah's parents live. They bought in '96, and I think the house was like 130,000, 120,000, something like that. And I remember then thinking, "Holy shit, my parents are rich.
Yeah, y'all living on
They're
mansion.
loaded. They've got so much money, right?"
Right.
But that's laughable. That's absolutely laughable. Like, you can find out, and it was a brand new house. They just built it, like
Oh,
for
damn.
like $120,000, $130,000, right? So it's just absolutely insane, like the prices and things like that, and inflation. And I'll grant you, young people are suffering way harder than I think older people give them credit for, like 100%. I mean, I'm not that old. Like, I see it, right? So it's that there is a point to be made there, but like I agree. Like, this idea of going back to the initial thing, which is you have to have this weird weird street cred if you grew up rich. Like, your parents made it. You know, like, they didn't just like do well; they made it. Like, in the game of America, they made it. Like, they are in the top echelon. Look, T.I. is not the richest rapper in the world, but T.I. is in the 1%, right? Like, him and his family are in the 1%.
He does very well for themselves.
Right. So
they do very well for themselves.
yeah, I don't like the idea of, speaking especially of young black kids that come from that sort of, they have the luxury of having that privilege, having to put themselves in situations and pretend that they, live this certain life or they grew up in this certain environment, which are full of a lot of negative issues, right? Like, that doesn't mean people who are living in there are bad people or less than or anything like that. Quite the contrary. But, there is unspeakable violence. There is, lack of food. There's lack of healthcare and all sorts of stuff. You don't have to pretend to grow up into that. To me, that's not a flex. Like, it's just not a flex.
It's
not a flex.
It's silly. Like they found someone in the harbor 2 days ago. Baltimore, out here in Baltimore.
Jesus.
In the harbor. Like, the fuck? Like, that's
why-
downtown.
Right. Like, why would you want to say, like, yeah, no, this is where I'm from. Give me some
That's
credit.
silly.
No.
And
Like, we talk about that all the time. Like, none of us grew up in like Poplar Grove or some shit like that, like in the hood of Baltimore. None of us did. Like,
No.
I'm okay to say that I didn't. I don't have to be like, oh yeah, no, give me some street cred or whatever. I don't need street cred. Like, I don't. I'm lucky enough to have lived a pretty privileged life. Like, again, I thought my parents were rich. They are not, right? It's just crazy. But but they, my mom is, was an RN. She's retired now. So she had like technically an advanced degree, right? So she made like good money. So like I'm lucky in that case growing up like that. But like I can't imagine pretending to want to be like my parents, I was poor and no.
It's like, they weren't, my nigga. We literally saw you grow up. Like going back to King, like we saw you grow up. Now, what he said in an interview prior to any of this happening was that he grew up, like he spent more time at his grandmother's house than he spent with his actual parents. And that could be true.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, are we to believe that T.I. didn't like buy his mother a house or some shit like that?
Are we
to believe that T.I. left his mother in the hood? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like I don't believe that. Like, I don't know where she lives, but I'm pretty sure she was in a pretty nice house in 2004 when you were born. By the time, like, when did T.I. come out? Like early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Probably like 2007, 2008. Like, that nigga was making a lot of money. He could have bought his mother a house. And like, if you spent most of your time there, you still weren't in the hood, nigga. Like, knock it off.
Yeah, and look, here's the thing. Let's give some context. Why'd you spend time with your grandmother? Because your parents were touring musicians. Like, that's why.
Yeah, they were touring musicians, and even in that video, he was like, I spent most of my time at my grandmother's house, and they were like, well, why'd you do that? He was like, because every time you were with us, you cried because you wanted to go back to your grandmother's house because she would let you suck on a pacifier.
Oh, damn.
That was pretty funny. And he was like, I ain't suck on no passy. I'm like, a passy?
Yeah, almost. I'm like, yes, you did. Yes, you did. You called it a passy. Yes, you did.
Nigga, you're 20 years old. You're not a child.
Yeah, that's a wild way to try to knock down that claim. Like,
right? Like, okay. Yeah, you did. But the thing, but when I said and thought about it a little bit more, like, you see, it's kind of a pattern that's starting up. Like, when like these black kids are talking about like how they don't really fuck with their parents like that. But and then I thought, like, well, we've seen this for decades with white kids.
Yep.
Right? Rich white kids. They fucking hate their parents.
Yeah.
And the reason why they don't fuck with their parents is because they didn't parent them. Because they had nannies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, they may or may not have been home, or a grandmother that you could just drop them off, and they're just rich. Like, they're constantly working to make as much money as they possibly can, and they neglect their children. And it seems like that's what these kids are saying. They're like, I mean, yeah, I had money, but like, my parents weren't really there.
Yeah, 50 Cent, him and his son, they don't fuck
him
with
and his
each
son
other.
don't fuck with each other. Like, bro, we talked about Brian McKnight and his kids. That nigga's a fucking scumbag.
Yeah,
like,
I think Brian McKnight is solid.
Like, that's some scumbag ass shit. But it's almost like, and I'm not going to fault T.I. and Tiny because, like, again, they were working. Especially T.I. Like, you can't fault them. Like, they're just trying to get as much money as possible to actually give their kids a good life.
Right.
But you get like the actual whole parenting thing gets kind of like thrown to the wayside. And I thought about
just fucked up.
Nick Cannon. How the fuck is he going to take care of his 12 kids? His kids are not going to like. They're going to hate him when he gets older. When they get older.
And this is where the argument, because I know it's coming in the comments, just because someone has money doesn't make them a good parent. Well, he can afford the kids. That's not what parenting is. It's not. Because if you talk to anybody who's had parents who have quite a lot of money, but they were always traveling and stuff like that, the thing they always say is, I wish my dad or my mom was around more. That's the thing that kids care about, dude, fundamentally. My wife has to travel for work on occasion, like every couple months. And it's just for like 3 days. But my daughter is miserable when she's not there, right? Like, just like so upset, and she's sad about it and everything else. Kids miss their parents, especially kids of this, like this day and age, because like they're pandemic kids. So it's that. I mean, Micah can speak to that too, right? Like, so it's even worse for them, right? Little kids. So yeah, like that idea, like, because people make that comment, like, as long as T.I.'s got or Nick Cannon's got the money, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I feel like you don't know what it is to be a parent. Like that's if it was just money, then every piece of shit nigga could just send a check and the woman who's taking care of the child would be totally fine with it. No. Be with your children. That's what you have to teach them things. You have to make them learn about the world. Just signing a check is not being a parent. I wish it were that easy, but it isn't.
My son, every day, every other day, he's just like, "Can you play with me?" And I'm like,
yeah.
And like, yo, I don't feel like doing it, but I do it because like these are the years that like they'll remember that shit. You know what I mean? Like it's just spending time with your kids, man. Like I I'm not gonna say money isn't everything. It's a lot, right? But you don't need it. You don't need it to be a good parent.
No, there's some broke motherfuckers that are absolute the best parents that have ever lived. Like there are plenty of people with no
and look,
money.
I'm not saying. And look, T.I. and Tiny apparently they're going out there and they actually working and stuff. It's not like they fucking around, right? Like they're out there.
I mean, they're
making money,
around,
so
but in different ways.
But they're providing. You know what I mean? They're providing financially, and that is a big part of it. It really is.
Sure.
But parenting is hard, man. It's really. That's why I tell people, like, I'm not one of those people that like. When you gotta have kids, no, you don't.
No,
if you don't want kids, don't let anybody talk you into them. Okay, and if you got a partner that wants kids and you don't, y'all need to vamoose, get the fuck out of there. Just break it off, because that's not gonna work. But and the problem is, we're bringing this up because of that big blow up that they had, right? And that's just, it was sad to see, quite frankly. Like, I don't never want to see that. I don't never want to see a father and a son fucking.
Yeah.
Look, me and my dad, we had that conversation not too long ago. We had this big fucking blow up. I don't even think I told Terrence. I told Jay, but me and my dad had this real big blow up where I'm cussing him out and he's cussing me out and we bringing up the past and shit. And I'm sitting there crying at home and shit. Called my mother, "Hey, why you don't love me? He ain't never loved me." we had this big fucking thing.
Oh, Lord.
And that was just like, because my dad wasn't he was a provider, right? But he was not like, "Hey, can you play with me?" Like, I'm working a double. I gotta go to work, right? Like, we've spent Christmases with just me and my mother and my sister because he had to work or chose to work, right? And that's I'm not saying my father was a bad parent, like, especially now, like that I'm grown and all that. But during those formative years, man, like, it fucks with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my hope for T.I. and King is that they got that shit out of their system now, instead of that shit being held in for another 20 years, like it was with me, and they can move on. I really want that for them, man, because it's not a good feeling, man. It's not. And as much as like it may get on as much as I may not feel like, watching the Paw Patrol movie again for the 8,000th time.
Oh, is that all you've watched it? That seems low.
As much as I may not want to play these silly ass games and shit, I'm gonna do it because I want that relationship to be solid. I want that relationship to be tight.
That's right.
And yeah, man, that shit was sad, man. That shit was real sad. I felt real bad for that family.
Yeah, look, I have a relationship with my stepdad, but I don't have a relationship with my biological father. And it's like the older I get, the more I realize like it's too late. Like, it's just too late at this point. Like I know
Well, for
people,
you,
it's not too late. Nah, it's too late. Like it is. Like that shit is in cement, right? Like that relationship is done, right? And then,
I'm the same way. Fucking
yeah,
42 years old.
yeah. Look, it's just like
I'm
nigga,
like you're the. We're both adults, but you're the adult, nigga.
right, exactly,
Like,
and that's
it's
my
like,
attitude. You were the grown up, you were the parent the entire time.
Yeah.
I was a child, and it's not my job to bring you along in parenting. I'm a parent now. I'm busy over here, and it's a sad kind of a realization, but at the same time, like I'm sad that like it's not going to be what it could have been, but like I'm also of the mindset of like it is what it is. Like there, I have other relationships with like with my stepdad and stuff like that are positive male relationships. But yeah, no, you absolutely miss those things, and they do fuck with you as an adult, and it focuses and it changes my perspective as a dad, because I do have those same moments like you're talking about where it's like, do you want to play with me? I'm like, fuck. I don't want to do this. Like, you don't. Like any parent who tells you they've never had that thought process, they're lying. They show me a parent who says that, I'll show you a liar. Like, knock it off. Look, do you think I want to put on play dress up dolls with a bunch of fucking like doll babies and Barbies and shit? No, fuck those dolls. I don't care about that. But I do it, and I like.
Right, exactly.
But like I play with them and shit, and and then I put my own spin on it, right? I have a good time with it. But no, I don't always feel like doing that shit. It's lame. She's 4. They do some lame ass shit at 4 years old. They just do. Like, nigga, watch a movie, yo. Like, let's talk about some shit. But like it is what it is to be a parent. But if I was just like, here's money in exchange for my time, that's not enough. And so the same thing is, my goal is to have that rock solid relationship with my daughter. Look, you can say whatever you want, but he was 100% correct about it. And I know it's a very old timey thing to say, but Chris Rock was 100% right. My goal as a dad is to keep my daughter off the pole. That's 100% true. It is. It is. And you can take that as her not being a stripper. I quite literally do not want that. But also, like yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay. Siri, perfect timing. But also, I always take that as to also mean like I don't want her to end up in a situation that is not positive, right? Whether you think it's stripping or God knows whatever else, I don't want her to do that because she has some major issues that I wasn't there to like seek or like see and like protect her from it, right? So like it is it's a scary thought, but like to see some like 20-year-old kid, like everybody has that blow up, like especially boys have that blow up with their dads. From my understanding,
I had it at like 17.
Yeah,
it was pretty.
Yeah, when you're supposed to have it.
When you're supposed to,
I got it out of the way real quick. Right.
Yeah, when you're supposed to have it. You're not supposed to have that shit when you're approaching your mid-40s.
Yeah. I mean, I had it with my biological dad when I was 27. That's when I had it with him. And then I was
still a kid, which was weird.
Yeah, but that's when you're supposed to. That's the healthy time to have it. I'm not a parent, but I feel like if I was a parent, like I wouldn't want my child to not be able to, like, if they needed something, to feel like they couldn't ask me for it or call me for it. Yeah. No, that would be my goal. Like, if you're in trouble, call me. If there's a possibility that I can help you in any way, and I'll do whatever I can. Don't feel like you can't call me. That's how I want to raise my kids. Yeah, I mean, look, that should be the goal. It's certainly one of my goals, right? It's an interesting way, like it's an interesting thing to do, right? Because you're trying to instill this level of confidence in them to go out in the world and do things.
Yeah, but you also want them to be self-sufficient,
but also like you're like, go out and do it on your own, but like don't go too far. but like you got to stretch out and like and see the world. It's a fucking insane balance. Like I want you to be independent and you challenge authority, not my authority. Right? Like it's weird, right? Like it's weird as a parent.
I'm your father.
Yeah, I'm your father. Like my daughter asked me something the other day. She was like, "Why can't I do this?" or "Why do I have to do this?" And I didn't have an answer, but I was just like, because I said so. Like I was not.
And it's such a fucking terrible ass cop out, yo. It really is. But guess what? I said so.
Yeah, and she took that shit. She was like, "All right, bet." Like, what the fuck, nigga, you.
And look, you gotta get those boxes. Look,
what the fuck can I do?
You gotta throw those out. You gotta take advantage of that because one day that because enough. I said so ain't gonna do nothing.
Yeah, like all right. Well, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna head out. Like, all right, man. Shit, you got the keys to the car. What the fuck can I do? So yeah, it's a wild sort of situation to be in. It largely never makes sense if that makes sense, right? Like parenting is like it's all about doing a thing and wanting them to do that and the opposite always at the same time, like as far as like life lessons type of shit, like expanding and becoming a person in the world, but like you also know what the world is like. You're like, don't go out there, like niggas are wild, like you know what I mean? Like it's a little crazy, but the best thing you can do is have a good relationship with your parents, like because like
they always say the first kid the parents fuck up on the first kid if you have multiple children. Yeah, because you know what the fuck you're doing. Yeah, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You can read all the books in the fucking world. It doesn't matter. Yet.
It doesn't matter. Every kid is different. And look, as I remember hearing this one guy is some sort of like guru type person say this, and I think it is a profound statement. No two kids are raised by the same parents. Like, meaning, even though Micah has two kids, both of his sons are not being raised by they're being raised by completely different people. Because you change so much from just raising your son or just growing older and everything else.
I've seen it firsthand. I'm 11 years older than my sister.
Yeah.
My parents are completely different people than they were when they were raising me. First of all, they were way more well established. So
that makes a big difference. That makes a big
huge difference.
Yeah, when it's like, all right, open this can of corn and figure out dinner versus you have money to buy food. Yeah, it's a big difference.
Well, you got McDonald's money at the
exactly.
11 years into my fucking.
My sister, I'm about 9 years older than my sister. She don't know what Spam is, right? She ain't never had that shit.
That shit good. It's so
that's what I'm getting. Right,
I got to drink a gallon of water after I eat it.
But she ain't, she didn't know what stuff like that was, man. Because she didn't know what like inexpensive food was. Because like she ain't have to have it. So yeah, like she's the shit that she can get away with. I would never have gotten away with. But I'm bitter about it. Like that's the thing. Like that's what's supposed to happen, yo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
yeah, I mean, look, if the two of you were raised exactly the same, that means your parents never changed. They never grew up. They never matured on things. They never saw the world in a different light and everything else. And that's not a good thing.
And never learn from their mistakes.
They didn't learn from their mistakes. Right. Yeah. I mean, I have the luxury of only getting one shot at this. So we'll see how that goes. It was so funny. My daughter the other day or yesterday was like, I want a brother. And me and my wife were like, yeah, that's cute. I think not.
Like people in hell when ice would.
No. Just because she was talking about going on, this is kid logic. Just because she was talking about going on a mommy-daughter date, right? Like they're going to go and go to the store or whatever, and I'm going to stay home. She was like, I wish I had a brother, so dad and my brother could they could go hang out. And I was like, this is not a reason for that. Like that's not a good reason for that. No.
Like, why not? Because I said so.
Yeah, exactly. Get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. That's funny.
because it is literally physically impossible for us to do that. Like, nope, mom and dad, not possible. Sorry, we're good. We made sure of that. Like, sorry. So yeah, it's just really kids are interesting, but like that whole idea of having that disconnection from your dad, like you got to fix it. You got to fix it if you can. And again, I'm saying this from direct experience. You have to fix it. You have to fix it.
I'm the same way. I have like my biological father. I don't know what the fuck that nigga doing. No idea. The last time I talked to him, I reached out to him. My mother was like, maybe you should reach out to, or I don't know. My mother hates his guts. So probably somebody else. I don't remember who it was. Like, it was somebody else. It's like, reach out to him. I did. And he just happened to be in the state. And we were supposed to hang out. It was basically an episode of fucking
Fresh
Prince.
Oh.
He never showed up. And I was like, well, this is fucked up. And I just went home. But, it is what it is. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like, as far as like rich kids and their parents, like black people are starting to see like what it's like to be like rich and shitty. I'm not even going to say they're shitty parents, but they're just like, that sense of community and all that other stuff is, is a little different when you got a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, because money puts
it's
blocks.
Way different.
Money puts blocks between people that you can't possibly foresee, right? Like it's one thing to put blocks up between you and like the communities you grew up in and shit like that. That's obvious, right? Like if you make it out of the hood and you got $1 billion, you shouldn't be hanging out in the hood. Like, no,
I mean, like
you shouldn't be.
Build a rec center.
Right.
Like
help the hood. I got no problem with that. But don't be like down at the weekly dice game. Like, don't do that. Right. That shit is crazy.
Because there's gonna be some niggas who want to take your money and kill you.
Especially
now. He's crazy.
Right. So like putting those sort of roadblocks in between like the your old hood and stuff like that makes sense, right? Those are things that are bound to happen. Look, you don't even have to be a millionaire or a billionaire for that to happen, right? You can just quite literally just make it out because of education and stuff like that, and you're just living in a different type of zone. But as far as like putting blocks between you and your kids and you and the rest of your family because of like jealousy or in this case, like wanting to pretend like you're from the hood and all this other shit. Meanwhile, your parents are like, don't do that. Like, motherfucker, we made it. Right. Like, so.
And that's the other thing.
They want to have that experience.
Insulting.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
insulting.
I mean, I understand like he maybe like, I don't know if they had these issues if they didn't talk it out, but like it's insulting to be like, yeah, I came from this. Like, no, nigga, no, you didn't. Like we worked really hard to give you what the fuck you got, and for you to say that shit is an insult,
right? Because you don't want to give up the money, like, but because you don't want to give up the money either. Like, you gonna all right, cool. It's like you're from the hood, great. Now give me my money. Bye.
Right.
Yeah, make it on your own. You start an album, right? Like, but they don't want to do that. They want to have all of the luxury and power and benefits of that, but then kind of turn their back on it. And look, I kind of understand it, obviously, because if they felt like their parents turned their backs on them, they want to do the same thing, right? So it, from a psychological standpoint, it makes sense. It's just kind of sad, right? And look, I don't think any of us, I think I could speak for all of us in saying that none of us are saying like Tiny and T.I. are like the parents of the year. I don't think anybody would make that point.
Man,
but
I don't know them. I don't know.
Right. No, but I'm just saying.
He has brothers and sisters. They don't seem to be. I mean, I don't know how old they are.
Right.
But,
But what I'm saying is we don't know, right? Like, but I'm gonna go out on a limb, just the stuff of like sex trafficking that they got busted with. Like, probably not the parents of the year, right? Like, just a guess. This is wild. But that doesn't mean that. But that doesn't mean like going back and saying, hey, I grew up in the hood. I'm from the hood and all that. That don't mean that shit works. Like, you seem silly and ridiculous. You didn't grow up in that shit. Just knock it off. Just be happy with the privilege that you have. There's a million people. There are millions of people kicking and scrounging and fighting to get where you were born into. By the way, you know who did that? Your parents. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, quite literally. Your parents were like, I got to get the fuck out of here. And I have a talent, and I'm going to use that talent to pull myself up and to pull my entire family up. Take it as a blessing, man. And I don't even believe in that. So, that was for Micah. All right. So next week we are going to talk about Beast. Again, this is the Idris Elba film where he fights a lion, I guess, which should be fun. That came out last year, 2022. And I believe it's on Amazon to watch if you have Prime. Yeah. I'm sure you can stream it in many different places, but check that out. The tagline for this is "Fight for Family," so this is appropriate for this preview episode. So there you go. All right, we will see you guys next week.
See you.
Bye. You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of Black movies, past and present. And every other week, we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the Black community.